We start. Hello, everyone. Let's see who is joining. We are the host. I'm the host together with my invitees for the session Hybrid Work, Places, Processes, People, talking about purpose of the office in a hybrid work model. And we have still time to see who's gonna join. So still time for a small coffee, for a small breathe in, breathe out. I'm looking forward to this session together with you. I'm quite sure that we will have great examples to share. I can see now that the number of participants is growing. Thank you very much for joining. We will be still waiting for a few more minutes. Welcome to our session. I will repeat, although for the people that have been from the beginning, it might sound redundant, but for the newcomers, you are at the session hosted by ABSL, together with me, Annemarie, purpose of the office in a hybrid work model. And my invitees are great people from Hewlett-Packard, from CJK, and from Impact Hub. I will not tell them the name because they will have time to introduce themselves. I think we should still wait for 1 more minute, if all okay, if okay with all of you. You just have to nod or not. I took my water next to me. We also shared a bit of coffee. And I saw Costin as well. He has his coffee. Alexander is smiling. So I'm happy that you are ready to share your great examples. And also Ilinka. It's really a great pleasure to have you in this session.
Thank you.
And
my pleasure.
Likewise. So we have 44 participants so far, and I think we should start because we have 1 hour ahead of us. Welcome to this session. It's a great pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining this discussion. It will be in a form of a live discussion about the purpose of the office in a hybrid work model. And we are at a session prepared by ABSL, Business Mixer. So we don't have people only from Bucharest, but all around Romania, which is quite exciting because we can, I hope we will get also a lot of questions following the real examples that we will have from our speakers. So let me introduce whom do we have today. So my name is Annemarie Diaconu. I am working for Skanska, heading the leasing and asset management. So I'm taking care of the building and of the environment that it's for all the employees or employers in the traditional office. And we hope we can make it together with you in a more future-proof office. And together with me, I have a representative of Hewlett-Packard, of CJK, and of Impact Hub. And I will allow you, please, time to introduce yourself. So, Costin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Costin Crista. I'm coming from HP. I'm part of the global real estate organization, more precisely the workplace services. My team's scope and role is very simple. We create great workplace experiences for team members across Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Alex. Sandru. I said that it will be Alexandru today.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alexandru Andone. I'm responsible for delivery within SEHECA European Delivery Center. And I'm in charge of delivering the infrastructure services to SEHECA customers in Europe.
Thank you. And Ilinka?
Thank you, Anne, and very glad to be on this conference together with your guests and with you. My name is Ilinka Paun. I'm an architect by profession, so I'm very close to the concept of workplace and environment and the beauty and the scope of it. I worked in real estate for 18 years, and then started my entrepreneurial, let's say, journey into education and also the future of work. And now I'm a partner and general manager for Impact Hub Bucharest, which is a franchise of a global network of hubs and programs dedicated to future of work.
Thank you. For everyone in the audience, I strongly encourage you to address questions or also to chat with us live. I will be keeping an eye on the chat and we will take the comments and the questions if there are. But we don't want to have only a chat between the three of us. Ideally, this is only a source of inspiration, and it's important to have your feedback as well, as much as possible, and if you feel comfortable. Now, what brought us together today is the fact that there is a tectonic shift in work brought on by the pandemic that balanced the power from property to people. So employees are now consumers and space is a service. Thank you. Now, we learned in 2021 that hybrid work is here to stay. So what's next for the office and its purpose? Therefore, the scope of today's discussion is to go with concrete examples from these three companies, two of them that are tenants, and the other one, Impact Hub, that is doing business from this model of co-working or having the space as a service. So it will be quite interesting to see how this combination between organization and project-based space as a service works. Then we will scrutinize the impact on the purpose of the office, and ideally we want to conclude with how the buildings are replying to employers and employees. Before moving to questions, I only want to make a bridge, because today it's not about the purpose of the office as a location, but it's also about the relationship between the person and the word work. And I was reading yesterday evening in a magazine, and brought to my attention the following quote that I wanted to share today with you. And it's about Mala Singh, Chief People Officer at Electronic Arts, who said that virtual and hybrid work models are becoming the standard for many companies. However, people want to come back into our office for the moment that matter. And I think this moment that matter, it's an element of learning, of creativity, innovation, collaboration, if we think to go to the office. Or there are many people, many employees and employers thinking that the office will become a social place, has to be a flexible workplace or a place to where people to bond. So giving this introduction, I will create the room for our speakers, and I will address this question to all of you. And please, let's start the discussion. We know that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. And I know that in Hewlett-Packard and also in CGK, there are already initiatives towards hybrid or defining the hybrid working model. So what is it, this hybrid work model? What does it mean for you, Costin?
Well, not only for me, but for the company itself. In HP, we look at hybrid work as the future of work. we've been actually thinking about hybrid work even before COVID, but the pandemic just accelerated our plans and forced us to implement it at a higher pace. For us, hybrid work means giving our team members the freedom and the flexibility to work from wherever they feel productive and engaged. And it's really interesting, the quote that you shared earlier, because it completely aligns with our vision. We see our offices becoming hubs of collaboration and places where people can connect versus a place where you put your laptop and you stay there heads down 8 hours per day, you close it and you go back to the office. So in a nutshell, that's our definition for hybrid work: freedom, flexibility, and offices as places to connect, socialize, and build the culture, which is really important for us.
Thank you. And for you, Alexandru?
I will not repeat what Costin said, although we have a similar approach. And yeah, we started to think about hybrid work even before the pandemic, but of course this accelerated. Now we have an approach where we recommend colleagues to sometimes go to the office to meet other colleagues and co-create and collaborate and meet face-to-face, while at the same time they are free to work from everywhere they want, basically. And that's the, let's say, the cool stuff, the good stuff, because it allows flexibility, and it's very motivating for employees to be able to work from their hometown or from their vacation place where they extended with 1 more week so they can spend more time there. And we took it up one notch, and we started to recruit everywhere in the country. So we implemented a sort of approach that we call the SEHECA satellite offices, which means that basically once we have a pool of people, of new hires or of colleagues in a new town, in a new city, first step is to lease a couple of seats there for people that want to go to the office and meet physically there. And the next step then would be, once we have a critical mass of employees that want to go to the office in a new city, that we open a real office that is branded with SEHECA, so we allow people to meet and interact face-to-face.
Quite interesting, because I think this is the bridge towards the service as a space, or space as a service. Ilinka, please, would you be the supplier for the satellite offices that Alexandru was talking about here?
Let me think about it. Yes. Yes, I'm very happy to see the focus on this topic of hybrid work and the idea of work from everywhere. And I had this gut feeling when I was a manager at a company many years ago that people, especially the new generations, they need different things that we, and I consider myself part of the X generation, like, a bit of a dinosaur who used to, to stability and the picture on the desk with my family and, the closed office corner, if possible, and a very rigid program after all, and going in the same place every morning and leaving in the afternoon. And I would love a parking place because, I wanted my car to be in the same place for the entire day. And I think this is so obsolete. And the new generations, for even 10, 15 years ago, if I may say so, especially from the IT industry, the new people demanded something else. And we just got the answer much later with the help of the pandemic. But the new generations love, they're multi-channel on everything. They stay on 5, 6 social media in the same time, and they can chat with 5 people in the same time, and they can do 5 things in the same time, and they can also think about multiple things at the same time, and they switch from one thing to another much more quicker than we can. And we call them sometimes HDHD, people, but actually the reality is that their brain can function like this by interrupting themselves many times and getting a different type of switch between type of activities. Anyway, so what I meant to say was that from many years ago, I tried to understand these generations and try to come towards their needs. And I think the hub is only a part of the answer to what the future of work needs. We are not the solution. We are just a piece in the puzzle, depending on the type of activity, the stage in the team evolution or the company evolution. But we can indeed this model offer for the hybrid work a place to work or a place to meet or a place to belong to a community. And I think what the big companies like HP and CGEC are doing, actually they are trying to build their own hubs. And I really welcome this initiative because it puts the concept of a hub on the map of real estate in a much more in the middle, like, you know, the core is where people can come and go, and they come for collaboration, for creativity. They also come for you know, the connecting to the essence, the mission, and the main values of the company. And the role of the managers is to keep this connectivity alive. And I think the combination between I am free to come to work every time I want, but I will come to get connected to my colleagues and to the mission of the company is the best combination of a hybrid work.
Thank you. And I will move to the next question, which in my mind, I had it under the topic of what were the challenges. But before going to the challenges, I would like to ask you, how do you cope with the different, because you must have different generation in your organization, like millennial, generation Y, Z. Honestly, now there are no more letters for the young generation, because I am almost colleague with my son, and I call him Instagrammable. So I don't know if this is something new, but how do you cope in this hybrid work model to manage the needs between these various generations? And I'm quite curious to see the model or the solutions that you applied. So Costin, Alexandru, who is more into this?
Well, let me start by saying that our approach was similar to running or launching a new service or running a marketing campaign. We've built personas because one of the things we're really careful about in our culture is to create inclusive environments where people feel treated equally and they get access to the same kind of services, and we have the same approach no matter where you are in the world or what kind of demographic are you. So we build the personas, and for each persona, which is kind of like a demographic profile, we are thinking what are the challenges and what are the benefits. For example, interesting takeaways. At the start, we were looking at early graduates as adopters of the program, but then we realized there was a problem. Some of them are living with the parents. Working from home is not that easy for them. It's actually a bigger challenge than somebody in their 30s. On the other side, we also identified what we call, let's call them groups at risk, like young parents or single parents, which have a huge challenge working from home. So we try to address and find solutions for all of those groups and be very careful on how we deliver our solutions by using those personas. I think the key takeaway that I can share with the audience here would be, think of personas, try to profile your users, and try to find solutions for the challenges that you will be modeling for those users, like the examples I shared earlier. Alexandru, to you now.
Thanks, Costin. It's yeah, in a similar matter, I think we have diversity in terms of these personas Costin is mentioning, so we need to somehow cover them all. So that's, I think, where the flexibility comes from, and we need to look at what kind of profiles we have, and we have, yeah, like parents who need to by time be at home and also taking care of the kids in the meantime. But at times they want to come to the office to be able to focus and have a little, peace of mind and without distractions. And in this respect, we try to think a bit how to engage with also people in the office, but also people at home. And we created for the office a campaign that's called Moments That Matter. And within this campaign, we aim each week or so to do something interesting that brings people together in the office. Like, one day we have the ice cream day, another day we have like a small gathering after hours for a couple of beer on the terrace. While at the same time, we try to engage also our colleagues that are working online through well-being campaigns, like yoga classes or meditation classes. So we try to look at all the personas we have, all the types of profiles within our workforce, and try to address them all.
Thank you, Alexandru. I think we have also a good a good example from the co-working, because you deal with different kind of personalities, but in a much higher variety. So what example, how do you cope to respond to everyone's needs with people that do not know each other? Ilinka.
We are designing and redesigning and designing again the space based on these profiles, and we don't look so much into the maybe single parenting or gender or type of activity. We work more with, let's say, personas of teams, in the sense that some clients come to us and say, we are 3 people, we would love to stay in the co-working area. We are a team, but we welcome this connectivity. We are creative people, we need innovation, imagination, and we want to be in the co-work area. And we have a large proportion of our space basically very flexible, just with desks, thrown around in a properly distant positions based on the COVID restrictions, but also offering the intimacy and the privacy when it comes to talking and to visual intimacy needed. Then we have a large number of offices that are closed, because teams come and say, we want privacy, we want a closed door and a card and a separated access for our team, because we have more confidentiality discussions, and we want to be in the hub, but be able to run away from the hub. So it's this combination of personalities that I'm with you when I want to be with you, but then I want to go away and be in my separate room when I need that. And we offer this to them. And then we have larger offices for larger teams that we split with panels. So basically our idea is, come to us and we will find a solution in all kinds of, let's say, type of relationships that you have in your team. We also offer this common areas like rooms for concentrated work, the no phone policy, silent co-workings, we call them. The phone booth and the meeting rooms are many numbers. People can again go there for a private conversation. So in a way, you're like in a shop where you can choose whatever product and place you need for the time being, for the activity that you want. And then we have the large cafeteria where everybody can get together and talk and chit chat and have coffee and drinks, and we have speakers, and our events happen in the big cafeteria, right around the kitchen table, like in the house. And that's where the community gets connected a couple of times per day. So also we have, you mentioned single parents. We organized a bit of a babysitting area where single moms can come with a child during pandemic.
Thank you for mentioning this, Ilinka, because I think this is one of the examples, and I hope that this will be promoted more and more. Of course, there is a need of legislation as well, because that was the discussion that we had in our buildings. There are many people, young parents, young mother, that they need to have a place where to babysit the kids in the building. So this was one of the topics that we discussed as owner together with Impact Hub, that is our partner, how to ensure that we can offer this space in the building. And I think that this is a true example on reacting immediately and towards today's needs, because it's not only something that happens during pandemic, but most probably also in the next period. So this is a facility that is highly appreciated and needed in the building. I see that we have a question. Thank you very much. I will read it. More and more organizations are committed to offering hybrid work, and some are destined to become fully remote companies. Question number one, how do you balance the benefits of working remotely and in the office? And question number two, how do you measure productivity in the same way for both office and home-based workers? Thank you very much for the question. So you just spot on, you took my next question. So how do you balance the benefit of working remotely and in the office, which is something that we also have as a challenge. So I'm quite curious to see whether there is a solution, or if there is something to be used as inspiration by the audience. Who wants to take the answer?
I can try and answer. I think the two questions are indeed related, you know, and I think that's where the big shift happened after the pandemic, because there was let's say fear of working fully remote, because and the main concern here, I guess, that it was that productivity will drop. And what we've seen, at least in our company, but I know it's rather general, at least for the IT industry, is that in fact productivity increased, and that was the surprise. And then I think companies were a lot more open towards going to remote or hybrid work than they used to be before the pandemics. Now, of course, the downside that came, and that everyone took for granted because we met face to face all the time, you know, is that indeed this kind of we are social human beings and we need social interaction. And because we were used to seeing each other face to face all the time, now that after this long period where we work fully remote, people started to feel a sort of, you know, distance or you know, that sense of belonging was not so strong anymore. So in fact, I think why now we think about hybrid work, and maybe why we don't look at, you know, working full remote for indefinitely, is because we want to facilitate our colleagues to see each other face to face and have that human interaction that creates trust, that creates collaboration, and that creates, in the end, well-being for the employees. And also that's one of the reasons that we are flexible with that, because, you know, you have introverts and extroverts, and people need this kind of interaction in different dosage. So the point is to facilitate everyone to take their dose of face-to-face interaction, while at the same time giving the freedom to work remote. And as in terms of productivity, yeah, we see that basically it didn't have to suffer. On the contrary, because people were more motivated to maybe work more because they have flexibility. They were more engaged because they work, you know, with their favorite scenery in front rather than, you know, being in an office. So yeah, that really went well, at least for us.
Thank you very much.
Costin?
Costin? would you like to take that? Because it would be really interesting to see in Hewlett-Packard. First of all, did you have this challenge?
Yes, but to a lesser extent than what we're seeing in the industry. One reason was, historically speaking, our parent company HP has been a pioneer of flexible work programs. I mean, even in the 70s, they were one of the few companies that started to do flexible work schedules. And then as time moved on and technology moved on, we started to get more and more people working from home. So for us, it wasn't that hard. But what I would underline again for the audience is you should know your culture and know how much you can shift. If we would move fully remote right now, I think it will break our culture. We're used to hybrid work before this became a term. So we had the balance between people in the office and people working remotely time to time. Now we kind of formalized it. And what we've noticed in our company, but also in companies that we work with, usually we see a normal distribution of user behavior or team member behavior. There's like 10% or even less than 10% who want to go full remote, and there's legal ways to do that, like telework. We got 85% of people happy to manage their own schedule and work from the office and work from everywhere as needed. And then we got 10 or 15% of people who have to be in the office. Either they want that or their job requires it. I mean, for example, some of my team members in real estate, they'll have to be in the office every single day. We cannot do remote if you take care of the buildings or you're involved in user experience. So I think with hybrid work, we're kind of covering everything. And the challenge is the major challenge, but that's for everybody. How do you keep your culture strong when you have such a, diverse work setting? And I don't think there is any magic for that or any silver bullet. You just have to know your culture and work together with HR, with real estate, with the people leaders, and take some actions that make sense. For example, for us right now, we're pushing a lot of communication to our team members, and we try to engage them in fun ways whenever we're reopening an office. So, for example, if I will be reopening right now the location in Bucharest, at the 100% capacity, then I'll be bringing people in, have some fun events, photo booths, things that keep us together, coffee talks, external speaker, kind of like, this big bang opening, so we can get everybody engaged. That's a couple of examples I could share.
Thank you. And I will go even bit bolder on that, because we receive questions, and thank you. That means that the audience is engaged with us. Could you give an idea what guidelines or policies were established or must be considered in support of the hybrid working model? Is there any guideline that you developed internally and that can be shared? Quite interesting. So I'm quite curious to see if there were such guidelines. And I will go again to one of you, Alexandru or Costin. And honestly, I would go to Costin because you said that the hybrid work model was already embedded in the culture of Hewlett-Packard. So was it based on any guideline?
Not before COVID. We formalized it once we launched our hybrid work program. We actually have a name for it. We call it Edge to Office. It's a play on our technology and what we're selling. We're selling edge to cloud solutions, and hence we have Edge to Office as a hybrid work solution. Yes, we formalized it in all the countries, including in Romania. At the corporate level, we're basically looking at team members, and we classify them in two groups. What we call office workers, which are assumed that they'll be using the office very frequently. It doesn't mean that they're forced to come to the office. It's just that we expect much a higher usage from their side. They could work from home if they would choose so from time to time, but we think most of their time will be here in the workspace. And then we have what we call edge team members. And the edge team members are predominantly working from anywhere and everywhere and returning to the office in average 1 day per week. We're not extremely prescriptive about that. And again, there's different teams and different engagements. These are software guidelines. What we're not doing is we're not forcing our team members to return. Is more like trust model between people leaders and their team members. And we allow a lot of flexibility because there's different cultures, not only between our teams here, but even at the global level. So we want to give enough flexibility for people leaders to work with their teams to decide what's best for everyone. Alexandru, do you know?
Thank you, Costin. I would go even one step higher, Alex, if it's possible for you. Do you have etiquettes during this? What are the rules? How do you work with people if they are working from home or working from anywhere? These things that are, I call it etiquettes that are informal, but they are formalized because they are known by everyone. And we have another question that we will answer, but I will allow space to Alexandru to answer.
Yeah, we have like a sort of, hybrid work recommendation or policy, but it's soft in the sense that it's general and in the sense that it's not mandatory. Like Costin said, we don't force people to come to the office either or to apply these etiquettes, but we rather recommend them. And to name a few, yeah, the recommendation is maybe to go to the office 2 times a week, at least 1 to 2 times a week. Then ideally you should have a face-to-face or a one-to-one with your manager monthly by recommendation. If it's not possible, then at least once every 2 months. And same goes for, having team meetings and meeting your colleagues face-to-face, or the project you're working on, or whatever. But these are like the guidelines that we have. And then, okay, for online, then we have a recommendation again to use video because the interaction it's much more authentic. But it's it depends on the choice and the context and how each person feels about that, if they are comfortable and so on. So we give a lot of flexibility in that respect. So.
Okay, thank you very much. And Ilinka, for you, do you have any guideline in the way of using the co-working space, especially given the variety of clients that you have?
I can share a bit what they do and why and how they use us, basically, because we feel that we are a great tool for this, for this period, but also going forward. Companies are including us as a resource. And the way I see that most companies using us, a hub, is first of all, they try to minimize the effort of the person to come to work, the distance, sorry. The fact that the office sometimes is far away is today unacceptable for an employee. And of course, a company cannot move their office easily where they want in the city. So this is a thing that is hard to overcome. So they come to us and they say, okay, we are offering our employees the possibility to come to work from the hub. Why? One, when they want at least 1 day per week. So I'm a bit aligned with what my colleagues said. 1 or 2 days per week is what usually I hear. Secondly, they encourage to do the team meetings in the hub. And also to put the teams that are very collaborative, like for example, a sales team. Or a product development team, or teams that really work on these things together. And they tell us that the reason that they use the hub is because they don't want to force this return fully, especially if the office is far away. And they like that the hub has multiple locations, which means if an employee wants to come closer to the north, they can use our hub, for example, in Floreasca or El Vlaicu. If they are more in the south, they can stop in Universitate and work from there. This is where we have the Impact Hub. And
I will take it from you.
And yes. Sorry, I was just about to say there was a message, something appeared on my screen. Sorry for that. Just to close up, and I think the etiquette, because you mentioned the etiquette.
Yes.
Usually to announce the colleague when they use the space, when they come to Hub, so the other colleagues can join and create the sense of, cooperation and connectivity that everybody's longing for.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the answer. I hope it replied also to our audience. And I will move to the next one. Honestly, I will take the one from the audience, and because they are said in a different way, but heading towards the same direction. And another question is, have you observed a decrease of engagement in your companies? And how did you handle that? So I think here it's again, Alex or Costin, whomever first, honestly.
I can go first. Yes, we've noticed such a thing. It wasn't as dramatic as, I won't say expected, but we've seen even in our industry, there's different ways in which people reacted to the lockdowns and to offices being closed. We were pretty lucky that our decline was very, very small. Nevertheless, what we're currently doing, we're having a partnership across all the functions which are dealing with the employees, real estate, HR, IT. We're trying to keep people engaged. Our HR team does a great job, coming up with events and engaging the people. Specifically for Romania, the challenge is the current situation we're facing. I mean, if we would be able to fully open our offices, I do think our engagement will just bounce up and probably even increase a bit, because we did a lot of redesign and our offices are very fun and engaging right now. But we have to deal with the current restrictions and with the current situation, and we're looking hopefully to be able to navigate the current situation and reopen the offices and boost our engagement. So to answer the question pragmatically, I would say we try to use virtual channels, virtual fun events, external speakers. There's a whole plethora of things you can try to do virtually to keep the people engaged. Nevertheless, it's getting less and less effective. The more time people spend fully virtual just because they're forced by the situation, we see what we call digital fatigue. It's harder to get people on that, happy hour, off time virtual drink with the team members. I mean, they do have an effect, but it wears off after some time. And I do think the only way to get that back up is to successfully navigate this fourth wave. And again, I'm specifically talking about Romania. If I look at other countries where we have offices, the moment when we're reopening and we're getting people again to mingle and to get to work together in a physical space, that gets solved quite quickly.
Thank you. So that means I took the conclusion that you already did reshuffling of your working space following this pandemic and based on this hybrid work model redefinition, let's call it like this. Did I understood correct?
Oh, yes, that is correct. We started in November last year, and we put the finishing touches this month. Mm-hmm. And that meant, I would say, 60, well, I think we transformed around 60 to 70% of our space. We basically did the complete office makeover at our current locations. We've increased significantly our flexible and social areas. We've boosted the ergonomics of our office. I mean, yeah, it's a significant makeover. I would say for us, it was the most significant investment in the workplace in the last decade or so.
Thank you for your answer, Costin. What about you, Alexandru?
We've noticed to some degree a decrease in the engagement, but it's not towards work or the company itself, but rather I guess it's that digital fatigue Cosmin was mentioning, and we try to boost that up by enabling our colleagues to meet face to face, informally, with in a safe manner, and basically catch up on that missed social interaction. And for us, this is very important because it's also part of the culture. Spending time together, feeling good with one another is part of the culture, and we didn't want to lose that. So we tried to find ways to compensate for that through these campaigns that I've mentioned, Moments That Matter, where we meet in the office or informally, going for dinner more often than we would have before the pandemics, just to get that social contact, social interaction going. And we also modernized the workplace. We implemented a flexible desk policy where people can book their desk there, and they can basically choose based on who is already in the office. I want to stay today next to that colleague or that colleague, and we refurbished the fun room, the game room, and also we created more informal places that teams can use for creative projects, brainstormings, or informal meetings.
Thank you. I will summarize a bit what you said, and if you do not agree with me, please feel free. You said that you have done complete makeover of the space, but mostly looking at the experience that people have in the office, and not necessarily as a location in itself. And would you agree with me if we would say that food is an attraction for people to socialize and to come to the office?
I would say yes. I think there are two things there. One is, people want to eat healthy and eat a warm meal in the office, and that's ideal. And the second thing is that it needs to be easily accessible, and it needs to facilitate also going together with some colleagues to socialize. So it has also a socializing aspect. And for example, in this respect, we have a cafeteria for our own employees. So it's an internal thing. It has been restricted during the pandemics, but it's one of the missed things, I would say, in the office. Due to safety measure, we don't use it for now, but we have it, and it's highly appreciated. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Costin, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I agree with what Alexander said. Food is extremely important, and one of the challenges we're facing here in Bucharest, but also in other locations, is the fact that the cafeteria ecosystem around campuses has been significantly disrupted by COVID. We see our options getting, there's a lot of companies who went bankrupt. So we're finding creative ways to bring food into the office, including, looking at partnerships with big delivery operators, or even trying to connect with local small restaurants and basically offering our team members a menu that they can choose from, while at the same time helping small businesses and small owners to expand their business. So definitely it's extremely important. And I think it will be an interesting area to look at to see how it will develop.
Thank you. And we have 10 more minutes and still 2 questions. I think on one of them we already touched a bit the answer, but still I think we should be more specific. So I will take it as follows. What if the majority of your employees choose to work from home most of the time? How do you attract them to the office? How do you engage them? And I think we already gave the answer in the earlier replies, like complete makeover of the working space, giving the purpose to socialize, opening in sense of aesthetics, and having more collaborative areas to enhance innovation, and as well attract them by the food. And the other one is, how do you encourage collaboration and promoting your culture? So in fact, it's about hybrid work connected with the organizational culture. How do you encourage collaboration?
That's basically that falls on the leadership, and it's about, you know, bringing people together, and the role of leadership changes in a way, because it's less, you know, monitor and control, and more facilitating people to work together by inspiring them these values that the company has, and finding, you know, what do we have in common, and how we can find, although we are in a physical distance, right? What keeps us together? What drives us? How do we? What is important for us? What do we want to achieve together? And it's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of work from the leadership team and the managers to inspire that and to facilitate that kind of sharing values. Basically, it goes a lot to values. Then, you know, when you're meeting in the office day to day, it's easier to speak, interact, and find these common things through a chit chat or drinking a coffee. You know?
Mm-hmm. Costin, would you like to add, or we move to the next question?
Just a quick comment. One thing that worked really well for us is implementing a management of change program for both people leaders and team members. For people leaders, it's a series of both trainings, videos, and resources that they can access to creatively use both the office spaces and the virtual spaces and collaborate with team members. For team members, we offer the same resources, but with a different angle about how they can support collaboration, either virtual or even hybrid. And by the way, another important point on this front, get the right technology. I mean, one of the things we've looked at and we invested in is the right kind of technology that allows our team members to seamlessly communicate from an office to a home through, like, you know, uninterrupted video, high bandwidth connections, things that make the virtual interaction extremely easy. One example is like one-click video calls. You don't have to spend time setting up your meeting room. Just have, you know, you click on a button, you get instantly connected, and that's it.
So that was one of the, because that was one of the requirements from the employees, or it just came as a normal reaction based on the activity that you've seen in your organization?
Well, we actually listen to people complaining that meeting rooms are sometimes hard to be, hard to use, or they spend 5 or 10 minutes trying to set up the system. And we thought, hey, this is not how we work in a hybrid environment. Those minutes are valuable, and we don't want to frustrate the user. So I would say, yeah, we kind of listen to what they're saying and to the feedback, and also we plan for the future. One of the things we'll also look at is we initially use meeting rooms to connect hybrid teams, people in the office with people at home. Right now, we're looking at using technology in spaces like the one I'm at, which we call like a flexible or collaboration area, and got, you know, displays with video cameras. You can move around, so you can collaborate even in these open spaces with people who are virtual, not only sitting in the meeting room, you know, in a fixed position.
Thank you. So we encourage all participants not necessarily to complain, but to speak up and raise to the manager the topics related to technology, or what instruments do they need to be productive in a social way, because together we can innovate better and we are more productive. And we have a question, because there are still 6 minutes, and I'm super happy about this question. So all the questions that I've prepared now, they are shifted away. Perhaps we find another session next time. But it's a question about, do you think the office itself, like location or aesthetics, can be a factor that people use to justify not coming in? And in other words, a well-positioned office with high-end fit-out could bring people in as a location. So the workspace, if there are glamorous things or a location, is this playing a role in the decision of the people to come to the office?
If I may, we know for sure that it is indeed a factor and a decision factor whether to come or not come to the office. And I think location, what we know from discussing with our employees is location and parking place. And that's why I think that we will go more and more into having hubs in different locations that are accessible for a better part of the employees. And also it's about location in the way that, okay, some people prefer to work somewhere central where it's easy to, go with subways and with buses. But at the same time, there are people coming by car. And we know that central offices don't have many parking places available, and that's a challenge. And a hub would solve basically that.
Thank you, because this is answering to the next question. And obviously, this is a model that worked for you, that you are heading towards satellite offices or hubs, because this is one of the questions also from the audience. If the companies are prepared to offer to the employees work from the office in temporary spaces like hubs. So I think this is the next question that has to be addressed to the management, and we will also take it as landlords. Because you mentioned earlier, Costin, about programs that you do with your colleagues, a lot of marketing and external speakers. We also are part of this program together with companies, and we go and discuss about the future of office space in terms of listening what the employees need and what should we change in order to reply to the needs of this new generation of way of working. Let's call it like this. Thank you very much for, first of all, to the audience for the questions. They were very on the spot and to the point. And I've prepared a bit of like final statement, and I would like you, if it's possible, in just one simple sentence, if you would think of what is the future of the office, what would that be? And I would like, if it's possible, from you, Costin, then Alexandru, and then Ilinca.
Okay, good one. The office space of the future will be very hotel-like. And I liked what Ilinca said earlier, and I think that was a very astute comment. We're moving towards something which resembles the hubs that, for example, Ilinca is managing. And we're resembling more and more to what's happening in the hospitality business. We don't know how many people we're going to get in the office. We have to offer food. We have to offer great design. We have to offer a lot of amenities. And we were talking internally, we're like, wait a minute, that's what Hilton is doing. It's just like a different kind of business, but we're kind of doing the same thing. So from my perspective, I think the next couple of years will be workplace services or real estate organizations within big companies will have to adapt to a much more hospitality-driven mindset versus we give you some desks, come here, you're going to have to work from the office no matter how it looks like. Thank you.
Thank you. So office space of the future will be, Alexandru? No pressure.
I think it will be a place of meeting up and co-creation, and that will depend a lot on the people that are meeting up and co-creating, because they might have different needs. And this is where what Costin and Ilinca were mentioning, it will resemble a lot with the hospitality business, where some might need a meeting room that's larger, and some might need an informal space where they would brainstorm.
Thank you. And
thank you.
Can I continue?
Yes, please.
Hi, sorry. Very aligned with what Costin and Alexandru said. And the word key for me is flexibility on on the entire supply chain, from the furniture companies and the modularity of how you can adapt fast the space to different needs of teams and different times. Also to landlords and how they can split, you know, floors and surfaces between temporary and fixed layouts. And also, of course, banks, that is part of the supply chain. How can we build better, more flexible terms for the corporate world to be more agile and changing with the changing times?
Thank you very much to all of you. So for me, this workspace of the future will be human-centric and will be an experience like a brand experience. So it's about connecting people. It's about making them being productive together. So thank you to all of you that stayed until the end of the session. I hope you enjoy it. We look forward to see you next time. Thank you, Costin, Alexandru, and Elinka for insightful thoughts. And I wish you a good remaining of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Anne.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.